These teaching materials explain the advantages of incorporating foreign nationals, basic knowledge for hiring foreign nationals, and the detailed process of hiring foreign nationals, with interviews with companies that have already hired foreign nationals and increased the diversity of their workplaces. Lesson 1. Advantages of hiring foreign nationals. Every year, more and more companies are considering hiring foreign workers. According to notification status in the employment status of foreign workers published by the Japan's Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare, MHLW, the number of foreign workers in Japan was about 1.73 million as of October 2021. While the impact of COVID-19 was seen in 2020 and 2021, the number of foreign workers has continued to reach record highs since notification was mandated in 2007. Factors behind the increase in the number of foreign workers include the government's ongoing efforts to promote the acceptance of highly skilled foreign workers and students, the increased employment of permanent residents, spouses of Japanese nationals, and other holders of a status of residence, the increased acceptance of technical intern trainees through the adoption of the Technical Intern Training Program. Furthermore, with the enactment of the Acts to promote work style reform, the promotion of diversity has been attracting public attention, and the increasing number of people working for companies regardless of nationality is said to be a factor in the rising number of foreign workers. While understanding this background, many companies are hesitant to actually hire foreign nationals, when faced with actual proposition of doing so. However, companies should note that hiring foreign nationals also presents significant benefits for them. Let's take a look at some of the main benefits of employing foreign nationals. There are 4 main advantages of hiring foreign nationals. Hiring foreign nationals is a way to expand the pool of available talent, not only in Japan, but also in other countries. Including foreign nationals among job candidates will present opportunities to hire more talented people. Due to globalization, companies increasingly face situations that require the use of English and other languages in addition to Japanese. Since foreign workers have an advantage in terms of language, they are expected to play an active role in companies' response to globalization. Overseas expansion is difficult, especially if you know absolutely nothing about the countries you're expanding into. However, if you employ foreign nationals who come from or have ties to those countries, they are likely to be able to contribute fruitfully in networking and gathering country-specific information. By hiring foreign nationals, you can help to spark new ideas that are completely different from entrenched concepts and values, as well as to stimulate activity within the company. Now, let's listen to some foreign nationals in Japan speak about their experiences. What made you want to come to Japan?
日本人の働き方を学びたいことと、家族のためにお金を稼ぐことです。
日本はちょっと安全な国だから、日本に、入学したら自分も安全になるかなと思って入学しましたです。
家族のためと自分の将来の目的を将来の夢を叶うために日本に働きに来ました。
ミャンマーにいる両親に恩返ししたいし、自分の未来とかももっとアップしたいからです。
Now let's hear from top managers of companies that hire foreign nationals. What are the advantages of hiring foreign nationals?
まずは本当に勤勉だという部分に頭が下がる思いです。 サボることをしないというか、本当に一生懸命になって仕事をするという、ことに非常に助かっているところです。彼らにその農業技術を少しでも取得してもらうために、いろんなことを今コミュニケーションしているところでございます。
まず外国人人材を採用する利点としては、まずは社内の国際化があると思います。私どもそのお客様の7割が外国籍の方ですので、社内もやはり国際化しなければいけないと。特に社内的なルールに関して申し上げると、やっぱり日本で堅苦しいルールとかがいろいろあったりすると思うんですけれども、海外の方大変合理的な方が多いので、社内のその制度ですとか、システムも全て合理化できるというところが利点の一つであると思います。で、あともう一つはやはり、語学力ですね。我々海外の方が多いので、その語学力の対応のために、やはり母国語を喋れる方、かなり必要になってくると思いますので、重宝しています。あとやはりその一緒に働いている日本人の方の、モチベーションのところも、やはりその国際化色の強い会社で働いているというところはかなりモチベーションが高くなる要素の一つだと思うので、それもいい利点の一つだと思っています。はい。
Now, let's speak to a trainer working at a company that hires foreign nationals. What influence have foreign nationals had on your company?
どの外国籍のどの子も意欲的なところと、あと多分学校から真面目に取り組んでいたってところもあって、3ヶ月だったり半年の研修の中で最終卒業テストみたいな小さい簡易的なテストもするんですけども、外国籍の子がその真面目にやっぱり取り組んでくれるんで、日本人の子より高かったりするんですね、点数というかその出来栄えが。なんでそういうのを見て日本人も負けてられないねっていうような声は聞きますし、相乗効果というかお互い切磋琢磨して、伸びるんじゃないかなとは思います。
かなりの成長性といいますか改善があったなと思うのが、日本人従業員が気配り心配りがすごく増えたなっていうのがありまして、優しく語りかけるとか、やはり外国の方、そういった方が多くなることに関して翻訳をしっかりしたものを載せていかないとみんな納得できないよねっていう意見が出たりとか、本当相手を思いやるっていうことはすごく空気感として生まれたのが企業としても非常に良かった点じゃないかなと。
Lesson 2. The fundamentals of hiring foreign nationals. When hiring a foreign national, one must first check the residence card. The residence card contains information such as the place of residence and period of stay in Japan. In addition, simply having a status of residence does not necessarily mean that one can be hired immediately, since some statuses of residence authorize the holder to work in Japan, while others do not. If one does work not authorized by their status of residence may be considered illegal by the authorities. To prevent such situations, it is important to have a proper understanding of the rules for hiring foreign nationals. Let us now take a closer look at the basic rules for employing foreign nationals. The Labor Standards Act, Minimum Wage Act and social insurance requirements apply to foreign nationals just as they do to Japanese. In addition to these rules, it is important to also observe the rules and regulations of the Immigration Control and Refugee Recognition Act to avoid situations of illegal employment. More specifically, all of the following cases constitute illegal employment. An illegally residing foreign national works in Japan. A foreign national who has not been authorized to work by the Immigration Services Agency of Japan works a part-time job without permission. An international student is constantly working more than 40 hours a week at a part-time job. A foreign national with a work visa for professional work does only unskilled labor. In such cases, the employer may face up to 3 years incarceration, a fine of up to 3 million yen, or both. Be careful, as you will not be able to excuse yourself by claiming ignorance. To prevent such situations, it is important to properly confirm the rules at the time of employment. Let us now turn to the topic of statuses of residence when hiring foreign nationals. To work in Japan, you must first select one status of residence, as a qualification to stay in Japan, before entering the country. There are 29 categories of status of residence for foreign residents. Among these, many people who work in Japan have the status of residence of technical intern trainee, specified skilled worker, or engineer, specialist in humanities, international services. Some people come to Japan work with the status of residence of student. You can also gain experience in Japan and step up to a more specialized status of residence. For the student, cultural activities, and dependent statuses of residence, it is possible to work within certain restrictions if you receive permission to engage in activity other than that permitted by the status of residence previously granted. However, for the cultural activities and dependent statuses of residence, it is possible to work within certain restrictions if one receives a permission to engage in activity other than that permitted by the status of residence previously granted. If a foreign national with one of these statuses applies for a job, be sure to ask if he or she has received a permission to engage in activity other than that permitted by the status of residence previously granted. Employment conditions differ depending on status of residence, so we will introduce the details of each below. Let us begin with the technical intern training status of residence. Technical intern training is an activity to enable people to acquire skills through practical training. These are skills that could not be acquired by carrying out simple tasks. The accepting company is in a position to teach those skills to technical intern trainees. A technical training coordinator will need to be assigned to provide smooth technical training guidance based on the technical training plan. In addition, for many of the technical intern trainees, it will be their first time living in Japan. It will therefore be necessary to assign a living guidance counselor who can support the technical intern trainees with mental health issues that can arise from the differences in living customs so that the trainees can live their lives free of anxiety in Japan. Furthermore, the accepting company must record the status of the training in a technical intern training logbook, check the progress of the technical training plan and amend the content of the instruction. Accepting companies are required to preserve the technical intern training logbooks for 1 year after the completion of the technical training. Next, we go on to the specified skilled worker status of residence. Specified skilled worker is a status of residence that allows foreign nationals with a certain level of skills and knowledge, and with the minimum level of Japanese language proficiency necessary for daily life and work, to perform a limited set of work duties within a specified industry. 12 sectors are designated as specific industry fields, namely, nursing care, building cleaning management, machine parts and tooling industries, industrial machinery industry, electronics and information industries, construction industry, shipbuilding and ship machinery industry, automobile repair and maintenance, aviation industry, accommodation industry, agriculture, fishery and aquaculture, manufacture of food and beverages, and food service industry. In order to hire specified skilled workers, there are conditions that must be met by the worker, host company, employment contract, and support plan. Please check the guidebook issued by the Immigration Services Agency of Japan. Let us proceed to the status of residence of engineer, specialist in humanities, international services. Engineer, specialist in humanities, international services is a status of residence that allows people to work utilizing the knowledge they have acquired at academic institutions or their past experience. The candidates must be a university graduate, a graduate of a Japanese vocational school, or have 10 years of work experience. In addition, if the work is not in the field of translation or interpretation, there must be a link between the candidate's academic background and the content of their work. Note that vocational school degrees, in particular, will be strictly screened for relevance. The last status of residence we'll look at is student. If an international student wishes to work part-time, then in addition to the status of residence of student, they will also need permission to engage in activity other than that permitted by the status of residence previously granted. Without such permission, any work the student engages in will be considered illegal employment, and the company that employed the student may also be charged with a crime. In addition, the aforementioned permissions need to be renewed after a certain period of time, so companies need to implement a thorough system to check. Furthermore, it should be noted that there are restrictions on working hours. The total number of hours worked per week must not exceed 28 hours. However, during long breaks such as the summer holidays, it is permissible for the student to work for up to 8 hours per day and 40 hours per week. Lesson 3. Specific process of hiring foreign nationals. We will now describe the 7-step process from recruitment to hiring. The hiring process depends on status of residence. Here we introduce these processes, assuming the status of residence: engineer, specialist in humanities, international services. Step 1. Recruitment. Once you have made up your mind to hire foreign workers, you must recruit candidates. Using public employment services such as Hello Work. Foreign nationals use public employment security services such as Hello Work, just like Japanese people. An advantage of using Hello Work is that it is free. However, a disadvantage is that it is difficult to increase the absolute number of potential candidates, since the job seekers you can reach are only those who use Hello Work. Advertising on job sites specializing in jobs for foreign nationals. Job sites specializing in jobs for foreign nationals have the advantage of being able to reach a large number of foreign nationals. However, as the number of service users increases, the unit price of advertisement is also increasing, and there is a risk that you do not receive sufficient inquiries commensurate with the cost of advertisement. Outsourcing to agencies that specialize in placing and dispatching foreign nationals. The biggest advantage of using a staffing agency specializing in foreign nationals is that you can leave the entire task of recruitment up to them. On the other hand, contingency fees may be high, depending on how difficult the recruitment was. Step 2. Scrutinizing the resume, work history, and status of residence. As explained in the previous section, it is necessary to look into the background and work history of the job candidate and confirm whether he or she is likely to obtain a status of residence that will enable him or her to engage in the company's business. If the immigration inspection is not approved, all the time and resources spent on that candidate will be wasted, so be sure to check in advance. When checking the resume and work history, you should know in advance whether the job candidate's subject of study is related to the position for which they are hiring, and what sort of responsibilities and benefits they had at their previous position. The main points that should be checked regarding status of residence are as follows: status of residence of the position they are applying for, as well as whether or not they have relevant education, work experience, Japanese language ability, and certifications, and in the case of students, whether or not they have permission to engage in activity other than that permitted by the status of residence previously granted. Step 3. The interview. Once you have a pool of candidates, the next step is to interview them. Each company will focus on different points during an interview, but in addition to all the points you would look at for Japanese candidates, make sure to confirm the following at minimum when interviewing foreign nationals. The first important point to confirm is the candidate's Japanese language ability. After clarifying your company's Japanese language requirements, confirm during the interview whether the worker's Japanese language skills meet the required level. Please note that if the Japanese language requirement is set too high, it will make hiring more difficult. The second point to consider during the interview is to check the candidate's background. The candidate's education and work experience will determine whether he or she can engage in the work required, as well as whether they will be successful in obtaining the necessary status of residence. You should also verbally confirm that what is written on the resume is correct. The third key point to confirm during the interview is the job description. To avoid mismatches after the candidate has already joined the company, use the interview process to confirm the content of the work you expect the candidate to perform. In particular, workers are prone to raising complaints about overtime, salary raises, and evaluation systems after joining a company, so you must explain things to them carefully. If there is a possibility that the worker will be engaged in side tasks in addition to their main duties, be sure to clearly state this as well. Many people are reluctant to carry out tasks that are not part of their job, so advance confirmation is necessary. The fourth key point of the interview process is to pay attention to your own speech. Not only does the interview present an opportunity for the company to assess the candidate, it also gives the candidate the chance to assess the company. If he or she perceive a comment as discriminatory, even if it was unintended, their impression of the company may suffer, potentially even resulting in the refusal of a job offer. During the interview, be aware that you are also being observed, and give full consideration to what you say. Once you have reviewed the candidate's application and determined that he or she is a good fit for your company, the next step is to draft the terms and conditions of employment and schedule a meeting where you can present the job offer. Many foreign countries place a higher importance on written contracts than Japan does, so it is important to draw up and confirm written terms and conditions of employment at an early stage. The meeting to give a job offer is a type of meeting that many companies conduct with the goal of finalizing contract conditions and benefits, in order to prevent resignation after an informal job offer. By having a discussion after giving the offer, the candidate can clear out any concerns or dissatisfaction in advance. Please note that the system of informal job offers is not common in countries other than Japan. Now let's hear from top managers of companies that hire foreign nationals. What are important points when hiring foreign nationals?
基本的に、経験がなくても実践を通して仕事をしながら学べますよっていうところをこう前面に出して、変なフィルターをかけずにいろんな方応募してくれるような形では採用をかけてはいます。
The application process for a status of residence varies depending on the requirements of the foreign national you wish to hire. Generally speaking, the following apply. When inviting a foreign national from overseas, you must apply for a certificate of eligibility. If the worker's status of residence needs to be changed, then an application for a change of status of residence will be necessary. If the status of residence will remain the same and only the period of stay needs to be renewed, then an application for an extension of period of stay will be necessary. If the worker is remaining in the same line of work but is going to change companies, then a notification of the affiliated, contracting, organization is necessary. In addition, since July 1, 2020, When inviting a new foreign national from one of the target countries, a tuberculosis clearance certificate issued by a panel clinic designated by the government of Japan must be submitted together with the application for the status of residence. The application process for a status of residence can take from 2 weeks to a month or more. Use that time to prepare for the worker's entry into the company. We recommend assisting foreign employees with flight arrangements and housing preparations for when they arrive in Japan. Especially when it comes to housing, many landlords do not like renting to foreign nationals who have different customs and lifestyles. If a foreign national is left to find accommodation on their own, they may end up unable to find anything. Supporting the worker to find housing as an employee benefit can help to build trust in the company. We also recommend providing as much support as possible with contracts related to living infrastructure such as cell phones and setting up an internet connection. When it comes to employing foreign nationals, the process does not end with the act of hiring. After the employee has joined the company, a well-developed acceptance system, including labor management, training, and evaluation, will also help retain talented personnel. Listen now to a person who is in charge at a company that is hiring foreign nationals. How would you like foreign nationals to grow within your company?
じゃあ次に入ってきたたちを育成してもらったりとか、人の管理をするっていうところまではまだまだそのステップアップできてる人が少ないので、みんながやっぱそういう能力を身につけていただいて、自分だけの生産性じゃなくてチームを巻き込んだ生産性で、より幅広く、より大きな仕事をできるようになってほしいなっていうのは望んでいるところですね。
When employing foreign nationals, it is important to provide an environment in which they can work to the best of their abilities. When hiring foreign nationals, the following points are of key importance. Offer pay and benefits commensurate with the work. Create an environment that can support multiple languages. Provide an environment in which workers can develop further. Furthermore, it is not sufficient to merely try to hire talented foreign nationals from the beginning. Rather, it is important to take a stance of nurturing and developing employees with thorough follow-up efforts. Companies hiring foreign workers should actively communicate with them, clarify internal rules that are difficult to comprehend, provide opportunities to study Japanese, and look after details, such as preparing living environments. When foreign nationals have comfortable working environments, even though they are inexperienced and unfamiliar with Japan, they will learn experience, grow, and contribute to the expansion of your company in various scenarios. Now let's hear from top managers of companies that hire foreign nationals. What innovations and precautions have you made in preparing a working environment friendly to foreign nationals?
多国籍になるっていう部分はあるんですよ、どうしても。やはりその風習的なもので、もしくは一部宗教的なもので、食べ物の制限だとかっていうものについてはやっぱりお互いに事前情報をもらいながらやっておかないとなかなかうまくいかない時も出てくるのかなという部分。あともう一つは迷っている仕事をしてるっていう子、ここ辞めてどっかに行こうかなとかっていう思いを持ってる子っていうのもやはり数がいれば必ずいます。でそういう子たちのサインを見落とさないようにしていることが我々雇用側の姿勢でもあるし、それを送り込んでくる派遣会社の姿勢でもあるだろうなというふうに思います。
特に気をつけていることが、弊社の台湾の子ですとか中国の子もいらっしゃるんですけれども、その子たちやっぱり1年に1回くらいは長期休暇を取って国に帰りたいという方がいらっしゃるので、やっぱそこに関してはちょっと融通を利かせてあげて長めに休みを取らせてあげたりですとか、やはりあと日本にいて家族がこちらにいるわけではないので、積極的に食事を一緒に行ったりですとか、 あとうちでよくやるのがその旧正月の時にみんなで餃子を作ってお祝いしたりですとか、その国々に合わせた、イベントごとなんかを社内全体でやるようにしたりしています。
Employing foreign nationals and enabling them to fully demonstrate their abilities has become a major management topic for many Japanese companies. You can enable people from diverse backgrounds to work happily while demonstrating their individual strengths, by creating work environments that are comfortable for anyone regardless of their nationality or gender, as well as making relationships where workers can talk to each other when faced with problems in their professional and private lives, and by solving individual problems with respect for each other's positions.